So I saw this story about Owen Goodman, a British Nigerian goalkeeper who chose to play for Canada. He has played at the youth level for Canada, England, and even Nigeria. But when it came time to play for the senior team in the World Cup, he chose to go with Canada. Even though Nigeria invited him, he turned Nigeria's invite down. And I was like, why did he choose Canada instead of England or even Nigeria? Then I went deep into his story. It happened that Owen Goodman was born in England to a white British father and a Nigerian mother. When he was 5, his parents moved to Canada. For whatever reason, I don't know, maybe for work or school, I don't know, they chose not to become citizens of Canada. So Owen lived in Canada from the age of 5 to 13 years. That's kindergarten to grade 8. And then they moved back to England. All this while he was doing small club football. And when he went back to England, he continued his football training. So right now he still plays for an English club.
I'm Owen Goodman. This is my first Canadian men's national team call-up. Every player's dream is to play for their country, play international football. And where I felt most at home was Canada.
And it made me think that choice he made to go with Canada instead of England or Nigeria made me think that our children will always be shaped more by the places we raise them. The place they will call home are those places that they feel connected to. Not necessarily our own place, not necessarily the passports we hand them. You know that age he spent in Canada, 5 to 13, those are the formative years. They are very important. Those are when children begin to form childhood friends. They begin to form their identity. Your memories and routines of what you did, they stay with you for life. That period of life Owen spent in Canada, that 5 to 13 years, became his claim to Canada. Not his birthplace, not his parents' ancestry or his ancestry. Now he's going to wear Canada's jersey in the next World Cup, but he had to become a Canadian citizen. So the path to become Canadian citizen is, there are different paths. He didn't have like PRO or anything, but he hired a lawyer, and that was his case because Canada was saying, oh, he does not have ties to Canada. But this person has spent 8 years in Canada, and that's how he made his case. Right now, he has done his citizenship oath, and he's now Canadian. Those 8 years shaped him more than any passport could. And that's something we don't talk about enough as Nigerians in the diaspora. Our mobility has consequences, and these are not always bad consequences. Sometimes the country you are passing through becomes the place your child calls home. You may just go to a country and say, oh, you're going for work or for whatever reason you go to that country. It's just like you're passing through that country. But for your child, that place will become home because of the experiences they get in that place. And sometimes that country becomes the country they commit to in the long run, just like we see in Owen's case. And yes, some people online are saying, oh, he chose Canada because it has a clearer path to the senior football team than England. Canada is co-hosting the 2026 World Cup. And England, I hear that the competition there is steep. There's a lot of good goalkeepers as well in the England team. But even with that, Owen could have chosen England or even Nigeria, where his mother is from. And Nigeria even invited him. But no, he chose Canada, the country that raised him, the country he had these fond childhood memories of. Identity matters, even exposure, what these children are exposed to, it shapes them. So when we're making our choices, choosing the country to go, oh, this country, they don't pay tax. Oh, this country, healthcare is free. We have to still bear in mind the experiences we are shaping for our children. Owen is the classic third culture kid. Children who grow up in a culture that is different from their parents' culture. So inside the house, they have one culture, but outside, a different culture entirely. And for many immigrant families like ours, Nigerians abroad, your child might love jollof, speak pidgin, call Nigeria home. But the truth is, the country they grow up in shapes them more deeply than you think. Culture for these kids is not just our tradition. It's the memories they have in the playground, the neighborhood routines, the friends they make at school life, just that experience growing up. That's what shapes them. You can raise a Nigerian child abroad, but they may never fully feel Nigerian the way you expect, even if you surround them with people from your culture or your tribe and try to immerse them in the Nigerian culture. And this story made me think of Japada. You see people yearning to go back home to Nigeria and all that, despite the way things are in Nigeria. But people still want to go back home to Nigeria. And you can't blame them really, because home is where the heart is. It's a cliche. But when you are raised, your first memories are from a place. Your first friendships, your childhood memories. Most people don't let those kind of memories go away like that. They still hold on to it. And the only way they like to experience it, or they can experience it again, is going back home. Because this new place we stay is nothing like home. We grew up with family members around, everybody playing, not locking doors and everything. The neighborhood is your home. But when we come abroad, our children will grow up in the environment that the abroad provides. Everybody to yourself. You can have a friend or two. You can't be playing around like eating in people's homes you would see in Nigeria, or even having family around like we do in Nigeria. The experience here is shaping them. So even if you take them back home, depends on the time frame. That's why some people try to jackpot with little kids, because if you are going back home to show them your culture, to teach them your culture, maybe to love your culture, if that thing is already formed in them abroad, it's hard to now take them away and show them a new thing. You know what they say, you can't learn to be left-handed in old age. So even when Owen's parents took him back to England at 13, according to him, Canada was still home for him. His heart was still here. He still felt like Canada was home. And here's the truth. Where you choose to settle or even pass through can shape your children's identity more than the passport you hand them, or even the place you're from. Where they are raised, there's a lot of first day at school, first time to learn how to tie shoelaces. There's a lot of early experiences. So that place feels more like home to them than the place you are taking them to. Even though you are not going back to Nigeria or any other country you choose to take them to, they may not feel like as much at home as essentially the children choose where to call home. We can only guide them, raise them, but they will choose where they call home. So our decisions, let's move to this country for so and so opportunity or because of so and so work, sometimes are some of the biggest decisions in the child's life, even though the child had no say in it. Just like children don't choose their parents. So parents have to open their eyes when they are getting married so that you raise your child with a sensible person. That's how they don't even choose our location, but they bear the consequences, whether good or bad, most times. Because most of us are dreaming to run back to Nigeria. But for them, they might not want to go back to Nigeria because they have a home in their mind. And if you watch my recent video on Bill C3, where I talked about how Canada has fixed a law about citizenship, like passing down your citizenship to your children's children born abroad, you already know that where you settle can affect not just your children, but also your grandchildren. And if you haven't seen that video, I will link it so you can look at what we talked about. Owen's story is not really about football. It's more about identity, belonging, childhood experiences, and where our children choose to call home, despite where we choose to settle. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about the options we have available to us or even to our children as dual citizens? Do you think Owen made the right choice? And if you were Owen, or if Owen was your child, would you encourage him to choose Canada or Nigeria or England? Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.